Chapter 12. Back Home. After a week that felt like a lifetime spent in the quiet, comforting, yet ultimately isolating atmosphere of his grandparents' house, Sam was finally home. The familiar scent of his own house, a mix of old books and his mom's baking, was a welcome change from the sterile hospital hallways and the hushed guest room. It was late when he and his dad pulled into the driveway, the streetlights casting long, distorted shadows. His mom had stayed behind, a testament to the lingering recovery Grandpa needed, and to Grandma's quiet, steady care. The drive had been mostly silent, his dad occasionally glancing over, perhaps sensing the unusual quiet from Sam. But Sam was lost in his own world, the vivid, fragmented visions of an ancient reader and battling creatures still echoing in his mind. The calm he'd felt during his connection lingered, a strange anchor in the swirling confusion. "Hey, Dad," Sam said, just as they were about to head to their rooms for the night. "Can I take my bike to get fixed tomorrow? It needs a new rim and maybe a new tire." He tried to sound casual, despite the lingering mystery surrounding his tumble. He wasn't too concerned about the deep dents and scratches on the frame. They were just cosmetic, and he knew they didn't really affect the ride quality. The truly impossible part of that fall, the one that had left no mark on him, remained his secret. His dad, tired but understanding, nodded. "Yeah, sure, Sam. Just make sure you get some sleep tonight." "Long drive," Sam mumbled a reply, heading to his room. As he lay in bed, the familiar ceiling above him, he knew getting sleep would be a challenge. But before he even thought of sleep, the lure of the internet, his usual go-to for answers, was too strong to resist. He grabbed his laptop, the glowing screen, a beacon of potential knowledge. He spared no time, typing frantically, searching for any scrap of information that might explain his experiences. He started with instant healing, rapid regeneration, no scars after injury. The results were a litany of medical articles on everyday fast healing processes, common knowledge he already possessed. Nothing, absolutely nothing, matched the impossible speed and completeness of his recovery. Next, he tried keywords related to his visions, shimmering books, ancient languages unknown, creatures battling myths, otherworldly attire. The search for shimmering books mostly yielded links to children's books with 3D lenticular covers, the kind that changed as you tilted them. While visually interesting, they were nowhere near the pulsating, alive-looking tome in his vision. The other searches were equally fruitless, drowning him in folklore, fantasy games, and vague conspiracy theories that felt entirely disconnected from the profound, calming presence he'd felt. He found no mention of a tire that shifted and gleamed with impossible materials, no real-world accounts of beings clashing with such raw, ethereal power. The vastness of the internet, usually a source of endless information, felt strangely empty, offering no answers to the truly impossible questions swirling in Sam's mind. He slammed the laptop shut in frustration, the dim light of the screen fading to black. The silence of his room now felt heavier, the mystery more profound without any external validation. Lying in bed, the exhaustion of the long day and the futile search finally began to weigh on him. He closed his eyes, trying one last time to concentrate, to reach out to that familiar, calming presence. He focused on the hum, the vibration, the memory of the visions. But the battle with sleep was one he couldn't win. His thoughts blurred, the edges of consciousness softened, and before he knew it, Sam was fast asleep. Chapter 13. A Gentle Tapping. Sam's sleep, though deep from exhaustion, was not entirely peaceful. Around 3 in the morning, a soft, rhythmic tapping began. At first, it blended into the fading edges of a dream, a familiar sound, perhaps his dad gently rapping on the door to wake him for school. But as the rhythm persisted, a subtle difference pricked at his subconscious. It wasn't coming from the door. His eyes fluttered open, adjusting to the darkness of his room. The tapping continued, distinct and deliberate. He strained his ears, his confusion slowly giving way to a prickle of unease. It was coming from outside his window. A bird, he thought, almost immediately dismissing the idea. He knew the sound of a bird pecking at glass. And this was different. This wasn't the frantic, sharp rap of a beak. This was a gentle, insistent cadence, almost like someone or something using a fingertip, a soft but undeniable call from the night. The calm he'd felt earlier returned, overriding the initial jolt of surprise. It felt familiar, attentive. He lay still, listening, his heart quickening not with fear but with a strange anticipation. The tapping was still there, a persistent, quiet invitation. Unable to resist, Sam slowly pushed back his covers. He slipped out of bed, his bare feet cool against the wooden floor. Every creak of the floorboards seemed amplified in the pre-dawn quiet. He moved with hesitant steps towards the window, his gaze fixed on the glass, trying to pierce the darkness outside. As his hand reached for the curtain, the tapping abruptly ceased. It was as if whatever was out there knew he was approaching, stopping its silent game. The sudden silence was almost louder than the tapping itself, leaving Sam standing frozen, his breath caught in his throat. With a slow, deliberate motion, Sam pulled the curtain back a fraction, peeking through the narrow gap. His breath hitched. Standing outside, bathed in the faint silvery glow of the pre-dawn, was a creature. It was indistinct in the low light, a shadowy form, yet utterly undeniable. There was no sound, no rustle of leaves, no breath in the still air. Everything felt surreal, as if the world outside had paused just for them. Then, he saw its eyes. They weren't reflecting light, they seemed to hold it, pools of ancient wisdom and something else he couldn't name. And as he stared, the creature raised a limb or an appendage in a clear, deliberate gesture, signaling for him to come outside. A wave of profound calm washed over Sam, solidifying his earlier intuition. He knew, with an absolute certainty that defied all logic, that he was in no danger. If this being wished him harm, it had countless opportunities already, from his fall to the present moment. Its presence emanated only an attentive, almost expectant patience. Yet, despite this profound sense of safety, Sam hesitated. A more mundane, but equally potent concern surfaced. What if Dad wakes up? The thought of his father stumbling upon him and this otherworldly being filled him with a different kind of anxiety. He wasn't certain the creature would react the same way if his dad suddenly appeared. The thought of explaining this, of the inevitable fear and confusion, was too much. The creature repeated its beckoning gesture 2 or 3 more times, its silent invitation unwavering. But as Sam remained rooted to the spot, a subtle shift occurred in its posture, a silent acknowledgement of his decision. Then, with a final, deliberate motion, the creature made a new gesture, pointing distinctly towards the dark expanse of the woods bordering their property before melting back into the shadows. Sam watched the spot where the creature had been, the pre-dawn light slowly asserting itself, revealing only trees and familiar bushes. He stood for a long moment, absorbing the silent message. The creature understood. It wasn't angry or impatient. It was simply conveying information. He closed the curtain slowly, the soft fabric a familiar comfort against the extraordinary truth of what he had just witnessed. He slipped back into bed, the mattress cool beneath him. Sleep wouldn't come easily now, but the confusion had been replaced by a different kind of certainty. The creature wasn't going to force him. It was leaving the choice to him. He understood the message clearly. He could find the creature in the woods, or perhaps the creature would find him again on the trails. The woods, the trails. Familiar territory, yet now imbued with an otherworldly significance. The thought of facing the creature in the light of day, on his own terms, felt less daunting than the silent pre-dawn encounter.